Welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm Jillian and I run an 8-figure e-commerce business. And one of my goals this year is to do more personal brand content and also just to share a lot more about my behind the scenes. I think the easiest way to do that is to just share with you what's actually on my mind and document it kind of like a diary. This is the most genuine breakdown of what is going through my head every single week. It's not going to be super scripted. It's not going to be structured and optimized. I'm just going to share with you, like, here are the things that I'm working on right now. Here are the things that you can derive value from. And even if this YouTube video reaches like 5 people, I know that it will have impacted those 5 people. So here we go. It's February 2026. And one thing that's on my mind right now is January came and went, and usually I do a lot of goal setting and planning in January for 2026, which I did. I did for the business. So my exec team and I, we went to Miami and we did like offsite there. And so we spent a lot of time just like properly setting out 2026, what we call big rocks, basically the big goals that we need to do for the business. And I did that at the end of Jan. And then now I'm back in Toronto and I'm thinking, okay, well, what are my goals for me as a person, inclusive of the work that we do for Kyoko, the business, but also like, who am I? Because I think I can only really show up for my business if I'm showing up for myself first. Normally I do some sort of goal setting in January, but this time I wanted to wait until the business stuff stabilized. It was also my birthday. I turned 30 in January. And so there's just a lot happening. I wanted to do goal setting in a state where I wasn't super just like moving on to the next thing. I needed a beat before I could really reflect on what went well last year and basically what I want to do next year. This year, my partner and I did goal setting together. And I think it was important because we basically got to share what our personal goals were for the year. And then also that naturally led to a conversation of like, well, what do I need to do to support you? And that two-way street is really nice because you also get feedback and thoughts from the other person that spends the most time with you. Here are the 6 areas that I did goal setting in this year. The first is self. So self includes things like mental well-being, spiritual well-being, and just generally my relationship with myself. The second category is work or career. The third category is body, so everything to do with my body and my health. Fourth is relationships, which includes relationships, not only just romantic, but people like with friends and family and the community. The fifth category is finance, and the sixth category is play. Basically, how do you have fun? What are the things that make you excited and playful? When we did goal setting, we were very intentional to only use a Sharpie and pieces of real paper. Using real paper and a big fat Sharpie is actually shown to make you think bigger. You're more visionary, more imaginative because you're not using like a super thin pen and like writing it really small. But also, by handwriting, it forces you to prioritize what is actually important. So basically, I took a piece of paper, I folded it into these grids. And so I only had this much room to write in a big fat marker. So it kind of forced me to really be intentional with what I'm writing. In the spirit of accountability, I will talk to you about my goals for the year and hopefully it gives you some inspiration for what you want to set for your year. For me, in the self category, I think about this idea that I saw a creator talk about on TikTok, which is this idea that like you have to bring your body along with you on your path to success. And when I say body in this category, I'm not talking about like physical health. I'm thinking more about like my nervous system and my mental well-being, like my brain's health. When I think about like when I say body in this scenario, but I think about I wrote I want to bring my body along with me on my path to success. And one thing that I realized that when it comes to this situation is that I have a dopamine addiction. I can't take a shower without needing to listen to music or like listening to a YouTube video. Sometimes I'll even bring my phone with me into the shower and like prop it up so I can watch it. I can't go to the bathroom without my phone. I can't even sit through a movie these days, really. And I'm just so addicted to like doom scrolling, like really quick short form video. Or my other vice is video games. I play a lot of video games. I play League of Legends, I play Smash, I play like so many Xbox games this year. And I think that it's really just my dopamine burst. Like sometimes I'll play a quick game of Smash on my like Nintendo Switch in the middle of the workday. And the impact of that is that it makes the reward of the video game reward is so inherently high that it makes the rest of my day, like the actual work that I'm doing or checking off something off my to-do list, it pales in comparison to the dopamine I get from video games. And so to get my fix, even though I've just completed a task and it should feel really good, I'm like, well, I need to go play a 10-minute game of Smash so I can feel like I earned that reward. It's kind of like a drug where if you haven't taken that drug in a long time and you take it, it'll feel better. But the more you take it, the more you feel like you have to keep one-upping yourself to really feel that high. And I feel like that's my relationship with dopamine right now, is that I keep overstimulating myself. I found myself the other day, I was like, it was ridiculous. I was watching a movie or like a show or something on the big screen at the TV. Then I also had my laptop next to me and I was like doing something on like an AI Claude thing. And then I also had my phone on me and I was like scrolling through Reddit at the same time. And I caught myself. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with me? Why am I using 3 screens right now? But that's the level of dopamine, like overstimulation that my brain needs to feel that hit, is that I need to have like multiple things happening at the same time. I need to solve that. I think it's funny because I was telling my boyfriend, and we've only been dating a year, so he hasn't known me for that long. And he was like, I never really saw it as a problem. I just thought like your whole like multitasking, multiple screens thing is kind of like a funny Jill quirk. And I'm like, it is a quirk, but it's also like not good for me. Like objectively, it cannot be good for me. And so I'm taking it on myself to really get that in control this year. The second area is work. Work is interesting because I felt that I didn't want to beat a dead horse. Like Kyoko has a lot of goals for this year that are around like acquiring new customers, trying out new channels, building out a retention strategy that really works. We also have like ambitions to run our first physical experience this year. There's so much there. So I didn't really want to like rehash everything when I did this exercise because I only had one square. But what I did write was I run a robust, effective, and innovative marketing engine at Kyoko with the support of my strong team. That to me feels more reflective of what I want to do for this year. And then underneath that, all these like little tasks. But I intentionally also wrote it in first person because I want to make it feel like it's something that can like manifest into fruition. So I run this robust, effective, and innovative marketing engine. And by innovative, I mean like I don't want Kyoko just to be another e-commerce store that relies purely on paid ads. And realistically, like that's not true. Kyoko has, I think one of our superpowers is that we do really well on organic content and we've been able to grow to 8 figures with much less ad spend than normal people. We run $0 on meta ads. It's like, I'm so proud of us, like $0 in meta ads and we're at 8 figures. I don't want to give that up. To me, paid ads feels like a low hanging fruit, but also like, it almost sounds like it's like the easy way out. Like if I have $1 million, yeah, I can just spend it on ads. And do I think that it'll reap me results? Yes. But then you're in this relationship of you're constantly reliant on ads because you can't do anything without it. And that's almost why I've been reluctant to invest in meta ads. I don't want to only grow on the back of meta ads because I don't think that ultimately makes us any different than any other e-commerce store, especially because Kyoko Beauty is a retailer. I'm already selling products that are technically a commodity. Like I don't produce my own product. And on top of that, to then becoming reliant on meta ads, it's like, what is my unique value prop then? To investors, to our customers, even to ourselves. Making sure that the marketing strategy for Kyoko in general is robust, it's really effective, but it's also innovative. Those are the 3 words that I use to talk about 2026 goals. My body section is really about health and strength and aerobic health. I just kept it simple. I said, I go to the gym 3 or more times a week and I show up even when it's hard. And I get stronger and more aerobically fit. So I read Outlive by Peter Attia. It really changed my perspective of like, I feel like in the past, I've really struggled with keeping up with going to the gym regularly because I always felt like I want to lose weight. I want to look prettier. I want to look better in a bikini, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like it's a very vanity driven goal. And ultimately, I am not vain enough. it sounds funny, but it's like if I was that vain, then that would be sufficient for me to go to the gym and like eat better and like do all these things. But like in the past, it has not worked because I don't actually care that much about looking the hottest I can ever be. And so when I read this book, Outlive, it was talking more about how like important it is to build strength now because your strength atrophies over time. And then eventually what happens is you lose your independence as an older person. In order for you to lift a suitcase above your head on a flight when you're 55 or 65, you need to be now in your 30s or 20s lifting 4 times, 10 times that weight over your head, right? So you create a buffer for yourself as you atrophy your muscle mass. And so that has really been much more motivating for me because I care about my future and my own independence deeply enough, and I want that enough compared to something like a vanity metric. So I find that has actually changed. And ever since I read that book a couple months ago in December, I've been going to the gym so much more, like 3 times a week, in a way that I've never maintained in the past. So I want to keep that up. And part of it is not just physical strength, but aerobic strength. Sorry, not like muscle strength, but aerobic strength too. And I feel that I'm like such a terrible runner. I can't run 5K. I don't even think I can run 3K without walking, like without stopping and taking a break in between. So in the book, it talks a lot about like how VO2 max is a really strong indicator for longevity and health span. And so it's really, really important, just as important as getting your like muscle strength up. So yeah, that's my goal for body. Also, side note, Peter Attia, the author of Outlive, has shown up thousands and thousands of times in the Epstein files. So we're not fucking fans of him anymore, which I'm really disappointed by. And it's tough because it's one of those things where I really like the book and I learned a lot from the book. And I think there's a lot of merit in some of the key takeaways. But also, he's a pedophile. So it's like, it doesn't change the takeaways, but it definitely makes me not want to read more of his stuff or like buy any more of his books or support him in any way. So I think I'm just going to like take what I have from Outlive, go apply to my life, and try not to ever relate myself to Peter Attia ever again. The next section is relationships. And I tried to really focus on relationships that are not romantic with my partner. The reason for that is because in January, we actually had our 1 year anniversary, and my boyfriend and I booked a 3-day, like beautiful cottage retreat up north. And what we did was we did like a relationship offsite there where and it sounds so stupid, but trust me, it was so good. Like we sat down, we did a lot of like introspective, we had like prompting questions. We asked each other what our hopes were for the future, what our fears were about our relationship, about our past relationships, and like what that means for us moving forward. We talked about life alignment and values alignment. And it was just like a really, really nice 3 days where we were in the middle of the forest. It was beautiful environment. And more importantly, it was a change in environment. So we're not just in our home. And we got to just connect about what the next year looks like for us as a couple. And so because we did that, and it was amazing and really felt connected to him after that, I didn't write stuff related to him in here as much because I didn't need to. So for relationships, I wrote, I increase my surface area for luck by exposing myself to new people and communities, planting seeds for new relationships. And more specifically, that looks like more events and internet friends. So what that means to me is that I have found that when I meet new people and I make new soft ties, like loose connections with acquaintances that become maybe friends, that has always benefited me in some life-changing way that you can't predict. So for example, I went to an event a couple years ago that ended up introducing me to someone that invited me to the next event. And at that event, I went to a next event. And like, I can literally trace the piggybacking of the different events and how like at each new event, I spread my awareness and my network even further. And as a result, like I'm so well connected. Like I know people in all these different industries across the country and across North America. And like I keep bumping into these connections. And I also find that like I'm the happiest after I've met a bunch of new people. I love going to community events. I love going to founder get-togethers, and I like telling my story. I like hearing new people's stories. I just love that kind of aspect of it. Also, one of my goals is to make more internet friends. So there's a lot of people in Toronto that either follow me on Instagram or vice versa, and I feel like it's so easy just to say like, hey, let's grab a coffee through DMs, especially if you guys both follow each other and you know each other. Like recently I made a new friend. I saw her on Instagram, I DM'd her, and then we got coffee together, and it was really, really nice. And I never would have met her otherwise. And just taking that shot, and this is what I mean by like increasing my surface area of luck. The more I spread myself out and I interact with people that I've never met before, and I become this well-connected web of interpersonal relationships, I think that it will always benefit me. In the past, proven to benefit me in ways that I cannot have imagined, because you don't know what you don't know. So relationship-wise, I want to keep doing that, and I find that just like it fills my cup, and it's so beneficial for my life, for my career, for everything. The second last area is finance. Finance refers to personal finances, not my business finances. I currently take a salary from my business, but one of my goals for finances is to grow a separate revenue stream to $10,000 this year. So what that means is, outside of taking salary or money from Kyoko, the business, how can I generate $10,000 worth of income not from the business? And I guess not from usual investments, because I don't really see that as income. So for me, I think it's a blend probably of personal brand content, and I eventually do want to take like deals, like brand deals. I want to do affiliate there. Like I think I have a lot to share in my niche, and it's a very specific niche of business owners. And so I think there's a lot of value that I can provide there. And if I can get brand deals from like tech companies or whatever to help do that, that would be really, really cool. The second thing that I think could contribute to that $10,000 goal is consulting. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs who want help or want my advice on how to do things. And I think in order to monetize that, I need to be able to provide more value and have more street cred as a founder giving advice. So that's also why I'm doing so much personal brand and like giving free advice on the internet, because I think that really helps solidify my authority and my voice in the area. I've never made money that's not through a salary, I guess, or from my business. So I'm interested to see how this goes. And I don't know if $10,000 is too ambitious, maybe not ambitious enough, but I think it's a good start, and we can always adjust. The last section is play. Play is so important to me. I prioritize fun a little too much. I prioritize fun a lot. And someone asked me recently, they're like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And my answer to that is always having fun. Doesn't matter if I'm working on Kyoko anymore, if the business is big, if the business isn't. Like if I'm not having fun anymore, no matter how successful the business is, to me something is wrong. And right now I'm still having fun. The business is fun to work on. It's really challenging. I like the people I work with, things like that. But down the line, if I'm not having fun anymore, it's a real check for me to say like, do I even want to be here? And so when I think about my year, I always want to prioritize fun, genuine fun, not shallow fun like playing video games or whatever, like time with friends, like really laughing and spending time with people that I like. And I also wrote specifically, especially outdoors where I'm happiest. When I think about my past couple years and I think about like, what are your happiest memories? In my head, it's always outdoor time that really shines through. Most recently, I went cross-country skiing. Love cross-country skiing. Love being outside, even though it was hard. Like it's very type 2 fun. It was hard. I was drenched in sweat. I fell like 3 times. So fun. I think about that as like a recent good memory of fun. In the summer, I went fishing for the first time and I caught a fish. That was really exciting and a lot of fun. I also went kayaking. I went paddle boarding. I was in the park and we like did a picnic. We biked around Toronto Islands. Like when I think about fun, it's always outdoors. So I think I should just lean into that more and this year prioritize outdoor fun. I think it'll set me up to be a more happier and fulfilled person in general. That was a long yap. I'm tired. Those are my 6 areas of goals for the year. When you do your goal planning, think about these 6 sections, because I think, especially the last one, I think we don't think about play enough. And I'd love to hear what you think about this video. If you want to see more of these like very chatty, casual, unscripted videos. I know they're not going to be for everyone, but for people that really want to understand how I approach my life as a founder, this would be the right place. And obviously, like, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill. Like, I'm not going to say it. Okay, then I think that's it. See you next time.